Welcome, we are back with a brand new series of Zero to Hero, DPS edition. Before we get started, the lack of hype for the grand reveal in the last episode was just upsetting, so I want to see some hype in the comment section right now. No, go on, I'll wait. Now that's more like it. Now to answer any questions I'm sure you're going to ask, why Fury Warrior? Why not Arms? The short answer, I saw Noxiv blasting high keys as a Fury Warrior, and the animation and gameplay just seemed like something I'd enjoy. At the time, I didn't know Fury Warrior had an AoE cap, so the damage I'm going to be putting out isn't insane. Also, the amount of hate you get for just being a warrior is ridiculous. You could be playing out of your goddamn mind, getting the most kicks and doing all the mechanics, but if you die once, that's just a classic warrior. Also, you're never going to be topping the damage meters when you're up against a mage or a DK, so in most pulls you're going to be doing tank damage, but your true potential comes out during the boss fights. Enough of the yapping, let's dive right into this. I didn't start from scratch with this class, instead we carried on with Suffering from Season 1. He had a bit of a transformation. Instead of rocking a little shield and a tiny mace, we're now rocking two giant swords the size of my dick. No point going over the rules, you know what's up by now. We're currently sat at 623 eye level, and this is what we'll be kicking off our Mythic journey with. Let's start things off with a rookery. Not being a tank this time around feels a little weird. 1 minute you're in a small manageable pull, and then you blink and bam, you're fighting the entire dungeon. I used to do crazy pulls like this in lower keys, so I'm no one to talk. But being in this situation myself, I know how I'd want my DPS to react. So instead of hard focusing the boss, I made it my mission to take out these thunderers before they took out us. And I did a hell of a job.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Our tank did end up slowing down after this, only chain pulling once we killed off a few mobs. Going into the second boss, our sheet was clean, until everyone decided, nah, I don't want the debuff. And before my little legs could get out there, I was dead.
Are you fucking kidding me? Why did you? Oh my god.
Another annoying thing about this boss is that after he leaps, he instantly casts Dark Gravity. This means if you're a melee, you basically can't hit the boss without risking death for a good 10 seconds. That was the only death we ended up getting this dungeon, so we cleared it out with no issues. We finished at the bottom of the meters, but I think that was actually pretty good considering these guys were 20 eye levels above me. Doing little damage is the least of our worries right now though, because we need gold. We are so broke, you can't even repair. It's so bad that I had to beg for gold in the next dungeon we did. Someone was nice enough to spare us some gold, so we had to lock in. To minimize gold spent on repairs, all we gotta do is not die, right? It's so interesting watching tanks play. Nearly everyone has different routes, just like this dude. After chainmail, we went up the right stairs. I've never been this way before, and I already knew we were in for a bad time when we immediately butt pulled. Even the mini boss on this side is terrifying, and because we beat this mini boss, the actual boss had another fireboy in it, so it was a complete mess. We went from only needing to worry about one kick to needing to handle 4. The tank again went a little crazy and pulled in 3 paladins. We had cooldowns, so we dealt with them with no problems, but the next pack had 3 paladins plus 4 casters. This would be fine in an MDI group, but this is a pug. You could give these guys 10k gold and they still wouldn't be able to find their kick button. And because I tried to be a hero and stop the cast, it came back to bite me. People were also playing the boss wrong. They were soaking before the shield went off. If this key was any higher, my tank would have been dead and we would have wiped. As a tank maid, it's been really hard not to guide the group. Normally, I type out what I want just before the boss, but I wanted this journey to feel more natural. The only time I'd ever take lead if it was absolutely necessary. The only other deaths were at the end of the dungeon. There was a bit of an overlap and the demon hunter kinda blocked my path. In reality, I should have just ran into him. At the end of the day, he's a tank. A few ticks of the beam won't kill him. We ended up getting some nice loot from this dungeon, which bumped us up to almost 630 eye level. The next dungeon was also very smooth, only 3 deaths. One was where my healer got flattened, Another was when my mage went for a swim in the pool of fire, and the last one was just a complete mystery. One minute my healer was alive, and the next minute he wasn't. We got some loot from this dungeon, a useless one-handed axe, and then we had to beg for the necklace. Twos were feeling a little easy, so we decided to go up a level and join a free floodgate. Our first death was just unfortunate. I was too busy zugzugging to realise I was about to die. The next death was a little tight. We had no room to move about, so it was just bound to happen. Even though we were getting dog walked and the overall damage, the boss damage is where we truly shined. Well, until the final boss. Because we were pumping so hard, once our tank died, I was next on the list. Fortunately, I didn't die, but when my tank got yeeted off the map, I just knew it was GG for me. My selfish teammates ended up rezzing the tank and just left me to watch them slowly overtake me on the DPS meters. Screw those guys. We ended up getting some warbound loot, which we can use on future characters. It's safe to say we got destroyed on the damage meters. Our eye level is a bit low and I do want to push harder. So we turned to one place where we knew we could get loot fast. Tier 8 delves. I'm not going to show you the delves because, well, they're boring as hell. But I'll tell you what I got. Some wrist, a weapon from the world boss, a trinket, and another neck. We also started selling all our stuff we've been mining to get a bunch of gold. Now we're sat at 365 eye level and a bunch of gold. You'd think that'd get us into higher keys, right? Well, it didn't. So we ran our tomb overload in the hopes we would increase it. And let's just say this dungeon was rough. The whole reason I wanted to be DPS is just to zugzug and not need to worry about the game. But when the tank has no clue what's going on, it's pretty much impossible. But it's fine, we don't get tilted. Instead, we quickly explained the boss and guided him with pings. It was going well until these balls decided not to play ball and bugged the fuck out. And oh my god was it infuriating.
Hello?
Bro, the fucking... Yo, this shit is so buggy. The rest of the dungeon was also hell. Almost every pack was a mess. If someone wasn't dying, someone was butt pulling. People weren't finishing their dinner either. Instead of just killing the mob so it wouldn't blow up, instead they'd run away and leave me to die. Even in death I was still typing out the mechanics of the boss. And thank god I did, because this one can be a pain in the ass. But thankfully, it went well. Somehow we managed to get to the final boss with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Honestly, if we played it clean and no one died, we probably would have timed this key. But you already know that wasn't the case. Even though I was trying my best to help everyone with pings, there's only so much I can do. Watching each one of my party members slowly get killed on the final boss was honestly heartbreaking. All I wanted to do was upgrade my key, yet I got stuck in a dungeon with a bunch of donuts. And you know they're bad if I'm topping the damage meters. We did end up getting a 2 dark flame cleft, and naturally you'd think that would be an easy 2 chest.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
What the hell was that? We still timed it, but what the hell was that? We did 2 chests out of free rookery though, so at least we made up for the dark flame cleft. We'll be pushing higher keys in the next episode. Hopefully some 4s and 5s. I'm not too sure what gameplay I should be showing. This is my first time doing a DPS series, so let me know in the comments what areas you'd like me to focus on. But for now, stay pumping and enjoy the show. And as always, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Welcome. We are back with another episode of Zero to Hero. DPS edition. We're off to a good start. We're slowly learning the rotation, which is only 4 buttons, so it's not really that insane. But hey, it's baby steps. Here's what we're looking like. Today, I want to be pushing higher keys. 2s and 3s are feeling a bit too easy, and we're in serious need of some gear upgrades. I mean, just look, we're still rocking gear from 2024. This tier set isn't doing anything for me either, because in most pulls, hell, all the pulls, I'm still doing worse than the tank. Today's goal is to push up to 6s, to get hero track gear and better crest. And if things go well, maybe we'll even dip our toes into some 7s and start farming some gilded crest. This will help us craft a 2-handed sword, which is going to be a huge DPS boost. Let's kick things off with a 5 workshop. I'm convinced my tanking videos are finally reaching the masses because this tank took my favourite advice. Slow and steady wins the race. In these lower keys, the biggest thing is just not dying. Small, manageable pulls are always good to start with. You can also adapt to your group as the key goes on. Plus, I can actually look like I'm doing some damage in these smaller packs. The target cap is a real pain in the ass, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Things got a little spicy when no one targeted the second boss, so after the tall boy was taken out, it turned into a DPS race. And we lost. The AoE is no joke. Even in a 5 it hits hard, and eventually it wiped us. Well, not everyone, the bear never dies. I've noticed a lot of people are struggling with Cujo, so let me drop a few tips to help you 100% clear it with no problems. When you get this flame ring around you, it's imperative that you slowly inch towards your box, so when the flaming vent mechanic goes out, it almost wipes your entire group. Also, if you want full uptime on the boss, you don't even need to worry about the mechanics. If you're going to finish above your peers, you need to risk death in order to reach the top. If you do all these steps, you will easily take down this boss with no issues. There's other areas that I see people struggling with, just like this mini boss. The best thing to do is to get into the safe area. Well, that's what an absolute idiot would say. Be like my healer. After all, your job is to heal damage, right? So fuck it, take as much damage as you possibly can, and then die. As for the third boss, we actually executed it perfectly. In other words, we killed the ad before the laser came in. As for the generators in the last area, these are a safe haven. You would take insane reduced damage if you're inside of them. Even if your pinky toe is inside of it, you seriously won't take any damage.
What?
Oh, never mind.
I'm in the... Oh my god, I'm not in the bubble. I'm indeed not in it. Fuck me.
I wish I had a bubble in this final boss because I was screaming for a heal for a good 15 seconds, and when my healer got taken out, I knew it was my time to go out. But when I saw my health bar slowly regaining, there was still some hope. Until... What? Our team also got slowly picked off by the magnet mechanic, but thankfully our chamois and druid finished the boss off. That sounds a bit. But thankfully, our chamois and druid finished him off. We failed the key, which is surprising considering we executed all the mechanics perfectly.
Are you sure about that?
We also got a head, as in a helmet. What the hell did you think?
Oh, well, it turns out I had 2 weapons on my invent that I didn't know about, and it's took me to 631 now. I just wanted to see how much gold I made from all the stuff that I've been selling. The cash is coming in. We're loaded. Oh my days.
Oh, it's still going.
Ooh, oh my days. We made like 11,600. Jesus. We're balling.
We are no longer poor. We went from 300 gold to 21k in less than 24 hours. And this was all thanks to the dude who gave me 1k in the first episode. So big shout out to Honori. This tank was indeed not a fellow Obeywow enjoyer, because one minute I'm fighting 4 footmen to coming face to face with not 1, but 2 knights. I don't know what game this dude is playing, but I just burnt my CDs because I was under the assumption he wasn't about that life. But I guess I was wrong. The fight lasted a while, so my CDs finally came back up, and when they did, I got to pumping. What? Where's my damage? It's fine though, we're gonna make it known why we are him on this mini boss. It's just one target, so we should blast it. This motherfucking tank.
Bruh.
There's 3 rules to tanking. 1. Always taunt your target. Don't treat it like a side quest. 2. Make it look like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. And 3. Naturally, just don't die. I don't want to make this another tanking guide video, but where the hell did people learn to do this pull? In what universe do you think it's acceptable to pull 4 sharpshooters, a mini boss, and 2 links? I mean, I'm him, so this kind of pull is another Tuesday. Time for the "It's Tuesday innit" comments. But seriously, you tanks are stuck in this heroic dungeon mentality. This stuff is fine when the bullets feel like you're getting shot in the face with a water pistol, but this is the big boy pool. You can't be doing pulls like this because your team will drown. Have you guys ever been so caught up looking at the damage meters that you don't realise that you're about to die? Oh, yeah, me neither.
What am I doing?
Let's take a moment to talk about interrupts. I'm used to kicking burning light, but what I'm not used to is this affix spawning right on top of my cursor, so when I try to kick the core mechanics, instead I have to watch it go off and wipe my entire group. The worst thing is, F1 still has interrupt up. Just to throw me off even more, they made the casting gate shield look like an interrupt, so naturally, like a normal well-adjusted DPS player would do, I kicked it, and I bet you can guess what happened next. Yeah, that's right, everyone once again let the cast go through, so we wiped. For some reason, we were tanking the boss in the centre of the room, so hammers were swirling around and people was just bashing their head into the soak mechanic, even though we had 20 seconds left. And we all know what happens next. Yeah, the shield comes out and someone dies. Don't get me wrong, I like this dungeon, and I know it's probably the least liked dungeon this season, but that's only because you actually need to do stuff, such as interrupts, and do the mechanics correctly. Somehow, we still managed to time the key, despite dying 17 times and wiping twice on Baron. This is where things started to go downhill. Well, not for the dungeons, we were blasting them. And when I say we, I mean everyone else but me. And I don't even get it. These guys are only 15 eye levels above me. There was moments where I was top of the DPS for like 3 seconds, but once my team got going, I was left in the dust. But this is a new key, and a new group, and a chance to stand out. Lust is up, and I'm ready. Oh, come on, man. This is just pathetic. Even the tank is doing more damage than me. I wish I could say I had some good news and I was doing great damage on the bosses, but even the tank was still humbling me. I mean, I know the target cap is rough, but come on. He was also doing some dodgy pulls, so the moments where I could potentially shine, instead, I fell flat. It's not like I would have contributed anything anyway, but I still want to be involved. And then we had our moment on the swamp boss. I mean, just look. We almost overtook the pumping paladin. Despite our damage or the lack thereof, we still timed these keys. For now, I'm just going to chalk it up to our gear. We are only 632 eye level and no tier set, and I'm playing with people who are 650 with tier set. Don't worry, I feel the exact same way you're feeling right now. I feel like a failure.
Speak for yourself, motherfucker!
We are barely even peeking into the damage meters, and even though that's all what DPS do on paper, you can still shine above your peers in other areas, and that's what we did. We are the backbone nobody asked for, but what everybody needs, such as being the first one to do the boss mechanics. Interrupting mobs so that the mobs can move into the already grouped up packs. Also, making it your mission to stop deadly cast that could potentially wipe your group. Don't forget about your crowd control abilities. All this stuff saves lives and makes the whole experience a little bit easier. And yeah, you might be slightly above your tank in the damage meters, but you can be on top in other areas. Now that's a lot of interrupts. Our IO is up, but our gear is down. Even though we're getting small loot upgrades, I have no idea if it's better to still rock the old 4 set or just to take the 10 plus eye level increase I'm getting. But the goal is still the same. Keep doing 6s and 7s to hopefully get some hero track gear that we can later turn into a set piece and some crest. So let's keep going with a 7 workshop. When picking this group, I didn't think about the first boss. If you didn't know, all the bombs would go on the range player. But because we had 4 melee, the only person it went to was the mage. And naturally, you'd position yourself in the center of the room, right? Well, not this mage. Instead, he put himself right next to the hammers. So, out of the 4 hammers our tank had the option of going to, he went with the one filled with a bunch of bombs. And me, being legally blind and too worried about losing a number 2 spot on the overall damage, I walked headfirst into the mines. And then my healer did the same thing, and then, finally, my mage. And to make things even worse, he left, which is just embarrassing. At least be second on the damage meters before ego checking the entire group. The key was depleted, but we ran it back as a 6 with a different group. And I knew this tank was about that life when he put Big Pull in the chat. I know, as a Demon Hunter main, there's zero chance you can mess this pull up. It's almost impossible to die, especially when you've got a Disc Priest. We went again, and he did the thing that I've always preached, taking it slow and only pulling what you can manage. And as the key went on, he adapted to the group and pulled packs that he thought we could handle. We was also executing the skips. Well, not that one. I guess not that one either, but hey, we was all doing good damage, so we easily 2-chested the key with no problems. And guess what? We finally got some loot. We are getting close to hitting Keystone Master, so our goal in the next episode is to get more gear and do more damage, and hit Keystone Master. But for now, stay doing tank damage, and as always, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching, bye bye. Welcome, we are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, DPS edition. If you come from the last episode and was just disgusted by the god-awful damage, well, I got news for you. That's just not the case anymore. We blasted down 5 keys and they all went really well. So now we have enough crest to craft our first weapon, which has been aiding us in our pumpage. But now, despite being able to keep up in the damage meters, I'm suffering in other areas. Pause. Just wanted to let you know, if you're watching this within the first 3 hours of it being uploaded, I'm now live on Twitch. So if you want to hang out and do some keys, come and join me. Take it away, Obey. You'd assume this late into the season, people would have a rough idea on how to play this game. But sadly, that just isn't the case. It gets worse though. It's so bad, you'll go to bed being gaslit into thinking you're the problem. But remember, the players in your groups are just people too. They also wake up every morning, put on their socks and strap on their Velcro shoes. Because you already know these clowns have no idea how to tie their own shoelace. We are also finally dipping our toes into some 10s. So, if you want to see some pig pumpage, questionable decision makings, and even more questionable gameplay, well, you've come to the right place. Let's take our new weapon for a spin. And there's no better place to kick it off with an 8 Dark Flame Cleft.
Fuck out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, motherfucker!
Yeah, sorry about that, Toby. Even though we're still not topping the damage meters in larger pulls, once we get into a pack with only 5 targets, we absolutely gap them.
That's quite big. Impressive.
The boss fights in this dungeon are also perfect for melee too, because I have 0 mechanics to worry about. But I did learn something new. Did you know this extinguishing gust does damage? Well, neither did I. It was either that did the damage to me, or because my tank walked out of melee range. I know this because he did the same thing again a little bit later, so I took 3 huge slaps before I toppled over. Another thing that was annoying, he kept pulling the Candle King away from me, so my chances of finishing at the top was at stake. And even though I tried my best and put my heart out on the final pack, my bitch ass got demoted to candle duty on the final boss. And I'm a team player, so like the candle holding princess that I am, I moved that candle like my life depended on it. And even though we didn't finish at the top, our deed did not go unnoticed, and we was rewarded. What? And we was rewarded. Why can't I say that? And we was rewarded. I sound like Jonathan Ross. And we was rewarded our very own Rufus.
Can I get a booyah? Booyah! Can I get a booyah?
Even though we are improving in the dungeons, it's still good to improve outside the dungeons too. And just like David Attenborough, I also tend to the wildlife.
This extraordinary creature is half blind, half deaf.
You probably sat there at home thinking, what the fuck is this, Blue Planet? But all this stuff is transferable. Doing good deeds in the outside world of Azeroth grants you nice blessings in the dungeons. And if you don't believe me, here, I'll prove it. Now what did I say? Bless the streets and your deeds will not go unnoticed. Things just kept getting better for me too. The weapon upgrade has made a huge difference, especially in the boss fights. After a while, you'd think I'd slow down like everyone else, but no, I just kept on going. But it's hard to stay consistent when you have a tank who doesn't understand the boss. This boss is already a pain in the ass for me, but when I got a tank who doesn't understand how to pass around the debuff, then it becomes an even bigger issue. Even my monk was trying to chase him down at one point, but once he gave me the debuff, I gave it right back to the tank and got the hell out of dodge. But my monk didn't do that, so once he got the debuff back, it was night-night for him. But now that the monk is out the picture, there's only one other melee to pass it to, and that's when it hit me. I'm just going to be another victim. Not today. You'd think with that 200 IQ move, we would go on to kill the boss with no more casualties. Nope, because at the end of the day, I'm still a warrior.
Zug zug.
Despite our little mistake, we still finished on top. The DK also gave us a helmet, and if we just get one more hero track set piece, we can finally rock the 2 set. But knowing our luck, that's just not going to happen. You're probably thinking them last dungeons were probably a fluke. But no, we were still staying consistent. But I guess the game realized I was having too much fun, so it just had to ruin my day and decided to crash. But at least I got this cool ass after effect.
What?
The crash was so bad I couldn't even respawn, and once I finally got back into the game, the damage meters reset. Even though they had a bit of a head start, we still tried our best to get to the top. After all, my mother didn't raise no bitch, and with every fibre of my being, I made it my mission to reach the top. I smacked them 4 buttons like I've never smacked them before, and with each pack and every ticking moment in a dungeon, I was getting ever so closer to reaching the top. And on the final boss, we reigned victor. We reigned victor. Is that what they say? Reigned victor? Is that the phrase? Sweet, sweet victory. And what was our reward? Fuck all. These last few dungeons has given me the confidence to try out some 10s, and still not having a tier set, I was feeling a little bit anxious. But don't worry, because we had a tank that pulled like a little bitch. Oh boy, here we go. Now, this is where it kicks in. How I found these players is beyond me. Like I said at the start, these are just people like us. However, these guys can give Rocky no hands a run for their money. Having a tank that pulls like this in a 10 is just unbearable. He finally chain pulled a few mobs together, but guess what? He was tanking it in a path that another pack roams into. But I'm not going to put the whole blame on a tank for this. I could have easily pinged, but where's the fun in that? Instead, I had to let this unfold, because sometimes you gotta teach these people a lesson. The worst thing is though, once this pack was over, he went back to tanking 4 footmen. Like, come on. Even when we finally got to fight in a decent sized pack, I was struggling to stay alive. I think the game knew I was tilted, because every single ability was aimed at me. I mean, yeah, I could have pressed my defensive ability, but everyone knows that you only press that when you're on 20% health. And then suddenly, my tank had an epiphany and did a complete U-turn and started pulling way more, which I would have been happy about if I wasn't dying before the packs were grouped up.
This next pull is going to be fucking insane, I just know it, so I'm saving my cooldowns.
I hate to say I predicted it, but I did. Sometimes you just know what a tank's going to do. How do you go from being scared to pull more than 4 footmen to pulling whatever the hell this is? I mean, do I really need to say it? Yeah, we obviously died. Who the hell does this guy think we are? Echo. But wait, it gets even worse. Going into the building with 13 minutes left, the dungeon was not looking good. At this point, I just wanted to finish it so I can at least get my weekly vault. As you can guess, that didn't happen, because my tank couldn't even survive this easy ass pull. We tried it one more time for the sake of it, but tanking a pack in a corner that leaves a pool on the floor is never a good idea. When I thought I couldn't find a worse tank, the world just had to prove me wrong. I can't put all the blame on the tank though, because legit, all 4 of these players were terrible. I mean, I get it, Baron is a hard fight, especially in a pug, because it's all based around mechanics, and not a lot of people understand the fight, but the general rule is to stay stacked and soak after the shield goes out. But not in this group's case, it's more stack in a random place and charge for the hammers to soak as quickly as possible, and that always leads to death. I mean, just look at this clip. I almost got one tapped right away because my DPS was just plowing their head into the soak, so once the shield came out and smacked me in the face, I was left on 30% HP. I can deflect the shield, but I'm still not used to pressing it. They still kept soaking before the shield came out, and I'll give it to him, they was getting away with it, but after a while, this will come back to bite him. And it did just that. During the 5 soak when Baron was buffed by Vindictive Wrath, aka he had his wings out. This means he has 100% increased physical damage and all his abilities are empowered. So naturally, they started to soak early. The shield comes out, one bangs him, and then the ticking dot took out the rest. You'd think now there's only 3 of us alive, our tank and healer would take it a little bit easier. But no, the healer soaks early again and gets one bang by the shield. Because I'm all out of defensives and low on HP, I wait a little before soaking. We still had time, so there's no rush, but time is of the essence for this tank. Instead of waiting 2 extra seconds for the debuff to run out, instead he resets it, and now he's tanking 2 dots of the debuff plus the boss, so he just fell over. At this point, the key was over, but with the server going offline in 13 minutes, I still wanted to at least try and get it done. So I told them you have 30 seconds to soak, so take it easy. Did that happen? Absolutely not. You'd think blowing up your healer on this soak, you'd probably take it easy on the next one. Nope, not my group. They were still charging headfirst into the hammers in order to soak, even though you have 20 minutes to finish it. Take 3. Remember, you got 30 seconds. You seriously don't need to rush this. And they listened. And guess what? The healer could safely heal without the worry of being hit by hammers or not being able to get out the zone of the shield. But sadly, all that advice went out the window on the very next rotation, and instead, I had to watch this fiesta. I swear. I'm confident these dudes were trolling, because for some reason, the healer thinks the dot suddenly does more damage if you wait a little bit longer. What he doesn't actually realize is the reason why he's taking so much damage is because he was getting slapped by a hammer every single time. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it. I always try my best not to flame these guys, and I did a really good job. But once this warlock typed this, I kinda just lost my shit. They're legit trolling. Maybe I'm not ready for 9. They're the ones that are trolling. Bruh. How do I find these people? How do these people fucking function as human beings? I don't get it. If you're still watching at this point and somehow made it through my meltdown, I would seriously like to show you how this fight is actually played. Because I already know there's a dude typing out a message right now telling me I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mr. Segs Machine. Alright, this is me live. I'm going to be talking you through how to do this fight. Because I see loads of people messing it up and honestly, it's depressing. So before every fight, I always type stack and soak after shield. These are like the 2 core mechanics that you need to like do, otherwise you just won't be able to do this fight. First, you pull the boss and you stay stacked. I hit the boss, then like 5 seconds later, the hammers will come down. And this is where you'll need to get to the opposite side of the room. So obviously none of the hammers hit you. Boom, I take them all the way over here. And in 1 second, the soak will spawn, but you don't soak it immediately. Because once you get the soak, there's the initial damage plus the knockback, and then the ticking dot. And when the shield comes out, which comes out now, it would normally like one bang people. Like this was without any soaks, and he's on 50% HP. We have a blood DK in this one, so he has his AMS up. So he can soak all 3 without even receiving the dot, or taking initial damage. Plus he has a deficit band, so he doesn't get knocked back. And this is when he goes into Vindictive Wrath. I talked about Vindictive Wrath. He does 100% physical damage, and his abilities are empowered, so this is where you need to be extra careful. Again, same principle. Hammer comes down, opposite side of the room, and then he'll do the soak mechanic. You don't immediately soak, especially in Vindictive Wrath, otherwise you'll just immediately die. Hammer comes out, boom, he does so much damage. If any of these took 1 soak, or like the AoE pulsing from someone taking the soak early, it would probably die. So yeah, I just leap away and path towards this, obviously because we have melees, we have Blood DK and myself, so I want to bring the boss close to this. We could wait for AMS and he just soaks all 5, but I don't think he ends up doing it. I think I ended up taking maybe 2. Yeah, interrupt blinding light, then yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll just go through it one more time so you know. Bait, opposite side of the room, soak comes out, you wait, F1's topped up full. See how the healer could top F1 up safely. Soak comes out, shield, jump towards the shield, and then soak. Completely fine.
Yep, that's how you do it. Thanks, Obey. I hope that explains the fight, but if you still don't really get it, feel free to leave a comment and I can explain it a little bit better. Alright, take 3 of this goddamn dungeon. The fact that people still don't know how to do the second boss in this dungeon is completely insane to me. It's a very easy boss. Dare I say the easiest boss in this game, if you just play it right. And I stand by that. Even this group didn't do the boss correctly, but they was pumping so hard and the healer was a gamer. So we finished the boss in like 4 or 5 rotations. We was also barely dying, so we made up from the last 2 dungeons by 2 chests in this one. And to make it even better, we got some hero track shoulders. This means we can finally craft that 2 set. But I'm gonna hold off on that for now, because we have a weekly vault in just a few hours. In the meantime, we dipped our toes back into some 10s. Surely this time it will go better. And it did. This group were blasting, especially this tank. Jesus, I know Prop Pally did a lot of damage, but this was just insane. I could barely even keep up with him. The only time I could actually look good on the damage meters was during the boss fights. We finished the dungeon off with 3 minutes to spare, and just in time for our weekly vault. The myth track ended up being not so good, so instead we took the hero track set piece and then crafted our 2 set. So this is what we're looking like for our final push to Keystone Hero. Let the pumping begin. And as always, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Welcome, welcome. We are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, DPS edition. I wish I had some good news and could say we got Keystone Hero today, but that would actually be terrible news. You'd rather see me suffer. One of you even predicted it. It only gets worse from here, and you couldn't be more right. And with the number of keys getting bricked this episode, I'm seriously starting to question if this is even worth it. What hurts most is just simple mistakes causing all these issues, but we'll get to that. Let's kick today's episode off with some happy feet. I still don't even get this death. I legit had 0 time to react. 1 minute I'm auditioning for a spot on Strictly Come Dancing, the next minute I'm being sent straight to the Shadow Realm. Sometimes this game gives you no time to react. It's so bad it'll have you dodging in real life. Oh my fuck. I dodged in real life there. Honestly, I don't even know what went wrong in this dungeon. My only excuse is just a lack of damage. We also wasted a lot of time during this boss because no one killed the ad, so I just got gratted down. They finished the boss without me, and with only 7 minutes left you'd think our tank would go all out. But no, he still pulled like a little bitch. We ended up wiping on the final boss anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. I tried my best to live. Hell, I even swapped into defensive stance, but it still wasn't enough. At least we got to cheer on our DK from the sidelines though. No loot, but we did get a 9 floodgate. And same thing again. 1 minute the key was going great, then bam, the healer dies, and everything goes to shit. How this demon hunter couldn't survive tanking this pack without a healer is beyond me. I thought you guys said priest healing was easy, but this guy was making it look rough as hell. Your self-sustain on Fury Warrior isn't great, so trying to live without defensives becomes a little bit tricky. Speaking of defensives, did this demon hunter even press any? I main DH, and I know for sure this dude had nothing running. Even if he used Immolation Aura and Demon Spikes, he still wouldn't have got 2-tap like that. His approach on the second attempt was even worse. My dude straight up zoomed in there and almost got 1-banged again. He lived, but I can't say the same for my healer. I wish I could say things got better from here and my DH soloed the pack, which he easily could have by the way, but no, this dude crumbled at the first sign of danger. We ran it back with another group, but again, pure pain from start to finish. On the second pack, the healer fell over instantly, and on the way back, he fell over again. This pull was a little bit spicy in my opinion. 2 surveyors can hurt, but really, it's just grouping up the whole pack that's a pain in the ass. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the dungeon. Our healer got ran over straight away, and with no battle res, the fight was just basically over. We did continue, but it was doomed from the very start. Also, watching my DK veer off to the right made me question what the hell I'm doing with my life. Watching him slowly run across the map to take a glider just to end up 53 feet from where he just was just insane. I wish this was the first time I've seen it, but no, it happened again with another group. Yeah, we're down to a 7 now. That 8 was doomed from the start. But if you're wondering how it failed, the healer didn't dispel himself on a bomb, so that blew up and killed everyone. But hey, at least we timed a 7. We still got no loot, but we did get an 8 priory. I know, I haven't had the best luck with this dungeon, but this group actually knew what they were doing on Baron. You see how easy this fight can be when you don't instantly soak?
I really delayed taking that final soak, but the time was running out, and it looked like my hunter was never going to get a heal, so I just bit the bullet. I'm so sorry bro, it had to be done. As you can guess, the rest of the dungeon was fine, and we even got a massive upgrade, a hero track weapon. I wasted no time buffing this bad boy up. Let's take this thing for a spin, and it ain't motherload.
Fuck out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, motherfucker!
Oh, I forgot again. Sorry, Toby. Let's take it for a spin on this second pull. It's a bit long, so let's 2x this bad boy. Okay, even in 2x speed this is dragging on. Let's just talk about what happened instead. We kicked off the third pull with 2 peacekeepers, and let me tell you, these bad boys do not live up to their name. They were straight up slapping my group. I have no idea how I survived. I think this is a good opportunity to talk about the target cap on Fury Warrior. Pulls like this are a shaman's dream, but for us, it's our worst nightmare. You could do your rotation perfectly and still only end up doing the same amount of damage as the tank. And when you're getting turned into a slime mid-fight, it doesn't help your case why you're doing no damage. But there's nothing I can do about it. Even if they changed it so you do reduced damage beyond 5 targets, things would be better. But in pulls like this where there's 9 mobs, only 5 of them take damage. The other 4 are left unscathed. I think that's right anyway. If I'm wrong, please do correct me in the comments. But from my understanding, that's how it works. This whole pull tilted me anyway. It was just a pure wiping fest. Every time I got back, I got turned into a slime and then reincarnated into a bitter man. And no, that's not the name of an anime title. That's just my life story. All jokes aside, somehow we still timed this key despite banging our heads into the wall for a solid 4 minutes. Now it's back to bricking a 9 Theatre of Pain. You can see these new weapons have made a huge difference in these smaller dungeon pulls. Hell, my damage was so nice I was testing out new strats mid-key. Just in case you didn't know, this gap is a goddamn lie. But on the topic of gaps, during all the boss fights and most packs, we were on top. Oh shit. We even finished the dungeon with almost 2 million total damage, which I guess is trash for some people, but for me it's a huge step up, especially considering a few episodes ago I could barely beat a tank. No loot again, but we did get a 10 motherload, and I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Not because I want to, because that's just how the dungeon went. What's been annoying me most about this whole challenge is I'll spend ages getting my key to a +10 just for a tank to come in and do some dodgy pulls and then leave. I mean, he was doing exactly what I preach. Slow and steady wins the race. And it was working. We had no deaths and everyone was doing good damage. And then we got to this part. He skips a pack to then suddenly pull it behind the house for zero reason. The tear gas comes out, the healer dies, and then he adds another pack on top of it. He dies, and then everyone else dies. The pack doesn't reset, so he runs back in, and instead of using Brand to stabilize it, he walks into the poison and dies again, then quits.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
But hold on, don't click off. It gets even better. I run it back as an 8 because I sat in queue for hours trying to form a group for a 9. Then I got a tank who runs in, pulls way more than he can handle, dies, respawns, and dies again. Oh, you thought we were done? We're just getting started. Roll the clip.
Force the fucking guy over bulls and can't handle it. I don't have anything to stop him.
Words didn't even need to be said about that one. We ended up swapping healers and ran his tank's 8 motherload. You'd think it would go better this time, but no, same exact thing.
As if he died. As if he died? Is he fucking shit? Oh my god.
We obviously continued because it was the tank's key, and then he goes and does this right at the end of the first boss. Honestly, I should have just kicked a few bombs into the boss and finished him off, but I was so tilted and just stuck in my ways. So I guess my own pride killed me here. We didn't time the key for obvious reasons. This tank struggled to live on any remotely difficult pack.
Of course he died.
We didn't get any loot or rating either, and I think this dude was flaming the warlock at the end. Which, to be fair, is understandable. His damage was like me from episode 1, but this is a 10, you gotta get your bread up. But on the bright side, we ran our 6 motherload, 2-chested it, and then immediately 2-chested a Dark Flame Cleft. So now we're back to 10. But first, I did some delves to try and get upgrades, and now we're looking like this, going into a 10 Floodgate, which we immediately bricked. I didn't play so great, so let's talk about it. So my first death was just unfortunate. I got rooted as soon as I went in, and then double bombed. Could I have prevented that? Probably not, but these next few deaths I probably could have. During the second boss, our warlock died pretty early on. We were doing tons of damage to quick fuse, so we needed to swap. I marked the other boss with a skull, but I should have typed something too. Maybe tell him to focus the other boss instead, but our tank kept grouping them together, so we were slowly cleaving him down. I tried hard to focus Brunt, but after a while, the cleave killed quick fuse. At the worst possible time too. He spawned the bomb, and at this point, it was GG, because Brunt was never going to charge again. Instead, he just spammed wallop until... We killed the boss right after this, but the time we wasted was just too much. Even during the swamp boss, I could have played it better. I didn't use Rallying Cry, which could have potentially saved my warlock. I knew I had it up because I literally said it right after he died.
Should put Rally Cry on that one.
My next death was a classic. People just weren't interrupting, so the mobs were never grouped up nicely. So my dumbass had to run out and kick the mob, then run back in. But because I'm legally blind, I didn't see the frontal, and instantly died. And you know the dungeon's rough when your warrior has the most interrupts. We also wiped just before the final boss. This pack is kinda hard, so I won't flame the tank, but you did have meta, bro. At least we got our best in slot trinket though, so it wasn't a huge loss. But now it's back to the hour-long queues. It got so bad I was begging streamers for an invite. And he said this.
I need someone that can time an 11. I'm gonna put an 11 in. And if I look at your score, and I look at your gear, I think to myself, it's not possible. I'm sorry. If it was a 10, I'd take you in for sure, Obey. So stick around, Obey. We're gonna get you in another time. Just give me a break on this one if you don't mind. I'm trying to get someone that can do an 11.
Fuck this guy. Hey, it's his loss. He missed out on some of the finest Fury Warrior gameplay. But I get it. Fury Warrior doesn't get much love these days. That's why it's one of the lowest performing DPS. After hours of begging, we finally got accepted into a key. This was our moment to prove we're ready for 10s. And it was going great until we got to Gold Chop. And that's when me and my healer made a fatal mistake. I thought he was going to do the hunt mechanic, but it turns out he's already done it. So I just gormlessly walked into death. We ended up wiping, but if we just lock in, we can still time this. Then the worst possible thing happened. We aggroed 2 more bone boys, and my little legs couldn't get there quick enough to interrupt. So we lost the DPS, then right after, we lost our other DPS. We managed to survive and kill off the 2 bone boys, but the run back cost us a lot of time. Going into the Zav wing with only 9 minutes left, the key was basically dead at this point. It didn't help that we wasn't stacking for the swords, and instead of kiting the boss away from the blades, instead we charged towards them, leaving me with no way to get back to the mini boss without the risk of death. But I just said YOLO and leapt right over them bad boys, and came out unscathed. We finally made it to the final boss with 36 minutes of pure pain. But to add more salt into the wound, once we got the boss to 50% HP, he did his big AoE explosion at the exact same time as the ad spawned, so the damage output was just insane. We survived it, but our pally didn't. It didn't take us long to join him though, because on the next manifesting death, our tank got a little overwhelmed and died to the tank buster. The next goal was just painful too, just easily preventable deaths like moving out of the frontal and popping any of your defensives on the scary bits. We got the hunter back up, but he soon died to the exact same mechanic. The rest of the fight was just long and tedious, but I'm glad we got it done and didn't wipe again, because this could have easily turned into an hour-long dungeon if we wasn't careful. We got no IO rating, but at least we got traded some loot, so it wasn't a full waste of time. But now it's back to not getting invited to keys. So instead, we ran our 9 mecha gun, which we easily timed so we can kick the next episode off with a bang. and hopefully get Keystone Hero. Until then, stay pumping. And as always, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Welcome. We are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, DPS edition. We haven't had the best luck these last few episodes, and I wish this one was different, but no, we're still coming across angry people who take zero accountability. It even got to the point where I was straight up being flamed, and you won't even need to wait to the end of the episode to see it. But while I still got you here, I want to talk about what's next. And I'm gonna be honest, I was thinking about continuing all the tanks to Keystone Hero from last season, but I got a druid to level 80 and got Keystone Hero within like 15 dungeons. So this is sad to say, but tanking is just too easy this season. I also made a demo warlock, but it turns out Cussy Slayer decided to steal my idea, so please do go over there and tear him a new one. So the only option left was healer. I was doing some thinking, and I know you guys might not be happy with this pick, but hear me out. I know you love to see me suffer, but I do also want to enjoy this game, so I thought it would be best to go Disc Priest. I know, it's a broken healer right now, but I'm a damage dealer at heart, so this player style suits me the most. But next time I'll play Retro Druid, I promise. Let me know how you feel in the comments, but in the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy this horror. There's no better way to kick this off than with a failed dungeon and toxic teammates. I get why they were mad I failed a easy ass mechanic, but even with this mistake it was easily savable. However, my healer couldn't heal the damage from the ad, so we wiped. What's really annoying though is I got the full blame for this dungeon, all because of my warrior. Not the fact that I had a hunter doing 0 damage and that was dying multiple times throughout the key, or my tank who didn't even know mechanics on the boss. So instead, I was running around like a headless chicken making up for that, which later got me killed because my teammate decided to randomly do a U-turn just as he was about to receive the dot. He also tanked the final boss in the middle, which is a big no-no because it creates more problems for the healer. What annoyed me the most was he doubled down after the dungeon ended.
Like, is this guy for real?
Hell, even if we killed the ad, we still wouldn't have timed the key, but instead of explaining why it's my fault, instead I got told to speak to the hand because the face isn't listening. And at that point, I knew what I was dealing with. A child. I said sorry, and I was gonna move on, I really was, but I got sucked into the rage bait. So I got to typing. I was straight up spitting facts, and this person said the most ignorant thing I've ever heard, and it wasn't even related to the game. But the cherry on top, after all that, all I got told to do was play arms, which is just a classic. It doesn't matter if you have the most kicks or almost topping the damage meters, because at the end of the day, you're still a typical warrior. The funny thing about all this is, I ran back a 10 rookery because I thought I was going completely insane, and we easily timed the key with 4 minutes to spare. We even had the same situation where we failed the mechanic, but we lived through it this time. We got 1 IO rating, which is better than nothing I guess. I don't know why, but this last 100 IO rating was harder than getting to 3k on my VDH. Pretty much every key after this was a big fat flop. You got the occasional one where everyone played really well and we easily 2-chested it, but let's just focus on the flops. It mostly just came down to bad decision making, like our first wipe on Dark Flame Cleft. Instead of just committing to the boss, people decided to stop hitting it and then suddenly started focusing the cart. 2 members of the group lived, but the tank died to the tank buster. Also, people dying to the giant AoE before the second boss definitely didn't do us any favors. Our healer also died during the second boss. We tried to power through and kill it before it killed us, but that didn't happen. We ran it back, but people not fully understanding the mechanics, it was making the fight way harder than it needed to be. The best way to handle this boss is to light as many candles as possible on the first set of mechanics, and then only blow out 1 candle, and it's usually the one I put a blue marker on. My tank also just straight up walked out of melee, so the boss just slapped me to death. Even in the next dungeon, it was the same exact thing. People not fully understanding the mechanics, so we got too many dots on us, and when the big AoE blast came out, it took out half the group. Our mage also died on the Candle King boss, so that wasted a bit more time, but because it's Dark Flame Cleft, the timer is very generous. So even with these mistakes, you can easily time the key on a 10. We got 35 IO rating, and a back upgrade. But now it's back to them hour-long queues. I was even putting ridiculous messages hoping I would get invited, but the only one that actually worked is when I posed as a DK. and I finally got accepted. And let's just say I didn't blend in well with these guys. These dudes were straight up pumping, so we easily two-chested the key. Believe me, I'm also embarrassed too. Finishing below the tank and the overall damage is nothing to be proud of. But like I say, you can still be on the top in other areas. Sometimes just doing the mechanics correctly and making things easier so other people can shine is all you need to time these sort of keys. After that hard carry from my group, I wanted to team with people who don't have insane eye level, because there's no fun in being carried. And normally when you make your own key and handpick your group, things are usually easier, right? We had a hunter who couldn't live through anything. If there was a big damage ability coming out, you bet your ass this dude was gonna die. He also never used lust, and we was already 7 minutes into this dungeon. Our tank was screaming at him, but by the time he finally used lust, the deed was done. Our tank was tilted and couldn't really focus, so on the next big pull, he died. Everyone was pretty salty at the hunter at this point, so the key was basically over. I ran it back as a 10 and we easily timed it, but the bad news is I got an 11 priory. And it went as you expect. When I saw this tank do this crazy pull in 11, I knew we was in for a rough time. The rest of the pulls leading up to the first boss were also insane.
I already know this idiot is going to pull the mini boss with that giant pack. So I'm saving Avatar for and all my other cooldowns because I can just feel it in my bones.
Oh my god, bro. Oh hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn.
But after that, it mostly came down to a skill issue. I died because I didn't press my self-heal button.
Oh, damn, I didn't press my heal button.
And then my DK got a few deaths, but what really killed the key was on the final boss during the second phase. During the second phase, the first wave of ads we dealt with no problems, but I guess we ran out of CC abilities on the next set of ads. I tried my best to AoE him down without taking too much damage, but once our healer died, we no longer had any heals, so we eventually all fizzled out. After wiping, the chances of timing this key was no longer there, but at least we got some IO rating.
Nice.
Our pain and suffering didn't end there. Going into this 10 Cinder Brew, I was feeling confident. If we timed this key and close out just one more, we would finally be able to end this horrible endeavor. But sadly, it turned straight into this fiesta. The first boss didn't go any better. People just dying on the first phase. Then I got knocked right into death during the intermission. The packs were also slapping us up.
I can't fucking see a thing in this goddamn...
We got to the point where we was just straight up getting overwhelmed. 31 deaths and 37 minutes later, we finally closed out this key. We got some IO rating, but nothing to push us over the edge. Oh, and the chaos still kept going. We lost our healer midway through the first boss, then the mage, and then our monk soon followed, leaving me in the tank to finish off the first boss. Our main issue this dungeon though was this mage. Not only was he butt pulling and wiping the whole group, he also was dying to pretty much everything. All this would have been fine if he was doing damage, but he wasn't even contributing in that either. The boss fights went smooth, but with all the deaths and the sheer amount of time it took to clear out the entire dungeon, by the time we got to the final boss, we was over by 4 minutes. We ended up wiping one more time on the final boss just for the fun of it, but not just once, 2 times. We eventually figured out the boss, but at this point I was so tilted I just wanted this challenge to be over with. And I really thought it would be it with this 10 motherload, but sadly it just wasn't. The tank did some insanely spicy first pull. And don't get me wrong, I don't think this pull was that bad, but with no lust and a fury warrior who barely does more damage than the tank, the outcome was always going to be the same. We ran it back and pulled the Peacekeeper on its own, but if you've played bear tank, you know this dude slaps. If you're not in Incan or have bark skin up, you're basically dead. So yeah, the tank eventually died and that was the end of that. I was so tilted at this point that I even made another ult. We eventually called it a night and returned the next day. And I gotta say, these dungeons were 10 times better than the other dungeons I've done all season. We only had a few deaths in this Dark Flame Cleft, one being when my tank walked out of melee again, So I got slapped to death, but if you've watched this series all the way through, you know this stuff never happens. Like, ever. But the rest of the dungeon was smooth, only getting one more death on the final boss, so we easily 2-chested this and got a whopping 8 IO rating. I also got a 12 Cinder Brew. I didn't feel confident going into this 12. My eye level is super low and I would only hinder my teammates, so we lowered it to 11 and sent it. And honestly, this dungeon was perfect. All the bosses were clean. Even packs we struggled with in the past went down with no hiccups. Everyone was doing good damage and we was doing all the core mechanics, which made the run super clean and simple for the group. We sadly didn't manage to keep the clean sheet though. We lost our healer and DPS on the final boss, but overall it didn't mess up the 2-chest, and we closed it out and finally got Keystone Hero. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. Could I see myself pushing to 3k on this character? Absolutely not, mainly because of the queue times. I was waiting 30 to 45 minutes to get into a key, which is totally understandable. Fury Warrior isn't in a great spot right now, but overall, I really did enjoy this. The rotation was easy, each button felt nice to hit, there's also zero downtime in your rotation. It's just the little things that are annoying. You don't really have amazing self-sustain, and the AoE cap can be a pain in the ass in the majority of these keys. I do believe this is a great character as an entry into learning DPS, and I'm happy I picked it. I hope everyone enjoyed this series. Stay tuned for the best healing you've ever seen, because we are about to tackle a new adventure. Hey, maybe even this time we'll push the 3k, but for now, stay pumping. And as always, if you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.